Evening. We're going to allow people just a minute to get logged in. Thank you for joining us today. Just give it another minute and allow folks to join us. Thank you for being here tonight. Hey, thank you so much for coming this evening. My name is Chris Monroe, and it's my privilege to serve as superintendent for Santa Cruz City Schools. And I'm going to go around this webinar room and introduce you to everyone who is here. The first person on my left is Sam Rollins, our Chief of Communications and Community Engagement. Dorothy Coito, Assistant Superintendent for Educational Services. Clyde Curley, Principal for Costanoa High School, and the ARC, Co-Principal at the Ranch 40 Small Schools campus, overseeing our alternative education programs with Michelle McKinney. Michelle Poirier, Santa Cruz High School Principal. Casey O'Brien, Director of Student Services. Jessica Serna Castaneda, is our translator for this evening, and I should have started with introducing you. Lo siento, Jessica Serna Castaneda está aquí esta noche para traducir esta junta para los padres. Por favor, Jessica, can you give direction for that before I finish introducing our principals?
Sí, buenas tardes a todos, gracias por estar aquí. En un momento van a ustedes ver la opción de un globo y es donde ustedes van a presionar allí y van a irse a interpretación del inglés al español y allí escucharán mi voz y toda la reunión traducida al español.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and I will finish our introductions. I'm going to go ahead and start interpretation. Greg O'Mara is our Soquel High School principal, and Amariah Hernandez is our Harbor High School principal. And I just want to say, as a mom whose our youngest son just graduated from our schools, you can't go wrong with any of our school programs. And my kids have experienced our comprehensive programs and our alternative programs. And we're proud to share them with you this evening. With that, I'm going to pass it to Sam Rollins, who's going to walk us through.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you add me as interpreter?
Is it not working?
It's on, but I'm not there.
Sorry about that. Does that work? See it now, Jessica?
No.
Thank you. Okay, Sam. You're muted.
Of course. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm going to set us up. With our slideshow. Give me just 1 second. All right. Can everybody see that? Going to assume that that's up there. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us today for a little preview of what to expect in high school. We know that it can be a really big transition, and it probably looks even more intimidating from about a year out. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to try to give you a little bit of an overview of the academics, the opportunities, and all the supports that we have in high school and how to access them. As we go, please feel free to type any questions that you have in the Q&A chat. Some of my colleagues may answer those, may type answers in real time as we're going through it. Anything that we don't answer during the presentation, we will revisit in the Q&A after. And some of it, if it's particularly important, we might answer as we go. And then when we get to question and answer, we'll answer some in the audio and some in the text, because we're sort of going to try to answer as many questions as we possibly can in the time. There will also be times where I will pause for translation, and I want to thank everyone for their patience, especially Jessica, who's doing incredible work translating in real time. And I don't always give enough time for her, but I'll do my best. So we are excited to be putting this preview together because high school is such a fertile time and there's so much going on. Particularly, it's the time where students are starting to kind of look up at the future and beginning to explore what they want that future to look like and seizing the opportunities that are around them. So we think they need guidance, support, and high expectations. And so that's what we seek to provide in high school. Like I said, pausing for translation time. And every time we do a public meeting, we like to put our beliefs and our goals up. I'm not going to read through all of them right now. We will be posting this whole presentation on our website tomorrow, so you'll be able to kind of go through it and pick up things that I'm going to kind of blow by pretty quickly, because we want to be able to get everything in the summary out so that we can get to Q&A. But the summary of this really is that we believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to excel and explore their potential, and it's our responsibility to give everyone their best shot at it, because every success in our community and our society makes our community and society better. And these were put together, it's a lot of points, but it was put together in discussion with staff and then with our board. So they're sort of our guiding principles as a school district. So I guess the thesis that you're going to hear again and again is that high school is a time of tons of opportunities, and we want people to just be seizing them as much as possible, because this is a great time for students to be exploring passions, the things that they know they're already interested in, but also looking to see what else they might be interested in, because it's such a fertile playground, as much as it is also a very serious academic experience where students can be testing out all kinds of different endeavors. And we're going to go over what options are available, but that's kind of the guiding message is take advantage and try things out as much as possible. And what we're going to be talking about today are the primarily the services and opportunities at our comprehensive high schools. And in our district, our comprehensive high schools are Harbor, Soquel, and Santa Cruz High. As you can see here, they're roughly similar in terms of student body size. They all serve roughly the same number of students in Midtown Santa Cruz, in Soquel Village, and in downtown Santa Cruz. But we're also a high school district of choice, which means that if you live in Midtown but would really like to go to Soquel High, that's fine, and people do that. And we're also very proud of the fact that we have, so many people who want to come into our district from outside and from charters and privates to reach all the opportunities that we have available. And everything that we're going to be talking about today is available at each of these comprehensive high schools. Obviously, they have unique sides to them, but everything that we're talking about today is present at every location. But we also wanted to point out the fact that we have other paths through high school. The Brantford 40 Small Schools campus, which is near Whole Foods, you've probably seen that building, houses a number of alternative schools. And for high school, there are some options there. We have AFE, Alternative Family Education, which is a kind of homeschool experience that is done in collaboration with credentialed teachers, where families can decide how much of their experience they want to be autonomous and at home, and how much they want it to be collaborative, because AFE has a range of enrichment courses and in-person classes every week that you can choose to participate in or not, depending on what your preference is. It's a customizable curriculum, and you put it together in partnership with credentialed teachers. So it's a great fit for a lot of people. We also have ARC independent studies on the even more autonomous side of things. And that's for students who know that they're self-directed and well managed. We expect about 20 hours of work per week in that program. And it really has probably the most flexible schedule because, again, it is an independent studies program. And if that looks like a good fit, please do keep it in mind. We also have Costanoa High, which is a little bit more the more traditional of the alternatives. It's a brick and mortar high school where students learn primarily in a classroom with each other, but it offers a lot more flexibility than our comprehensives. It has fewer credit requirements than the comprehensives, a shorter day, and a lower student to adult ratio on campus. And we're not going to focus as closely on these options. If you want to know more, the URL on your screen right now is the Small Schools website. You can go there and you can learn more about these options. We also do have one of the co-principals, if not both of the co-principals, for Brantford 40 Small Schools here with us today. So if you have questions, feel free to ask and we'll be able to answer them. Our table of contents for today, the things that we're going to cover are right here. College prep academics, that's the guaranteed sort of curriculum that everyone has access to, not because we expect everyone to want to go to college, but we do want everyone to have the option of going to college, and that's how our curriculum is built. Our career technical education programs, which we'll talk a lot more about in just a moment. What academic support systems we have at a basic level at all of our high schools and how to engage with them, what our enrichments and extracurricular endeavors are at each campus, what leadership opportunities there are for students. And award-winning programs looks like we're just going to be bragging about feathers in our cap, but we want to talk about how essentially having students experience success and recognition outside just the classroom, outside just the school, and out in the community or, you know, at the state level, why we believe that that's such a positive experience and an important confidence building piece for students. We'll talk about our social, emotional, and mental health supports on campuses and how to engage with them. We'll talk a little bit about connection and diversity at our campuses, and we will cover some school safety stuff before we get into how to get involved as parents. And that is what we're doing in a nutshell. As I said before, I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly just because I want to give everyone as much time to have questions asked and answered as possible. So our approach to academics is that a rigorous curriculum prepares students for future success. And because of this, as I said, all of our courses, with some exceptions for specific support courses that's a limited list, are college prep. And what that means is that they all satisfy the A to G requirements necessary for college admissions. And like I said before, we do this because we want to give everyone the widest number of opportunities that they have after graduation. So it's a college prep program by default. I did want to say that, you know, this approach is built on the idea also that students aren't just learning curriculum, but this is at the time where they're building tools, habits, and strategies for future success. So, you know, it's that thing where we're teaching people how to get the most out of learning at the same time as we're actually teaching them curriculum. All of our teachers are credentialed and experienced in their subject matter. There are some situations where a teacher who is almost done with their credential is given the opportunity to teach a class if they've shown the ability to manage and handle a class very well. Obviously, as teachers are getting their credentials, they're spending a lot of time in classrooms, so they are experienced. And if there's a situation where we have a teacher who's not yet finished their credential, we do inform everyone involved and give some context as to why that we believe that they should get that opportunity. All students have access to advanced placement and international baccalaureate courses. And we really just wanted to point out that AP courses are not just a good way to sort of chase that more rigorous course, but they help with college admissions, help with GPA, and can even count toward college credits, ticking off some general education requirements if students put a lot of work into their AP courses. We also offer something called the State Seal of Biliteracy, and I believe that we even offer our own more rigorous seal of biliteracy. And this is, students have this opportunity through our series of world language courses, and they can earn them for multiple languages. We have a nice apparatus for getting students trained in being bilingual and being recognized for the work that they put into that. We also want all of our parents to know that we have an opportunity with Cabrillo College where all our high school students have the opportunity to do dual enrollment, essentially take college courses and get a sense for what that college experience is like, what the courses are like, and how to successfully navigate it. And then we also have many classes that offer articulation with local colleges with whom we have relationships. We also work with local colleges to make pathways to college clear and accessible. We ensure that students are prepared to access the university system, and we bring college representatives onto our campuses to make that clearer and to answer questions of students as well. And I did it to Jessica again. I should have switched about halfway through that. So I'm going to give her just a moment. As I said before, we know that not everyone is, we know that college is not the only pathway to success. It's just one that we want to have available for all of our students as they pass through. And so to speak to that,
Sam, can I just add to that one thing?
Oh, absolutely.
It's more than just having it as an opportunity and option. We want to make sure that every student is prepared for college and career. So they may not choose college right out of high school, but they're ready. And if they choose it later, they're ready to go. And that's our aim, is to ensure that every student is college and career ready.
Thank you. And speaking to that, this is where the class of 2023 went last year. And so every year, this looks about standard for our placements every year. And we're really proud to have placements every year at the top universities in the nation, in the world. Yeah, we're very proud at the results of our class of our high schools being such a pathway to academic success. We also work hard, our counseling offices work hard to seek out scholarship opportunities and funding opportunities and help students connect with them. They publish them throughout the year and provide assistance and support for seeking scholarships as well. So again, this is just the sort of this year's snapshot of admissions and scholarships. And so another thing that we want families to have a good understanding of as they're coming into high school are our career technical education courses. And these are a little bit different. They're a hands-on approach to academics that teaches professional skills to students. And this means that they actually learn from professionals and they are able to explore career paths and develop job skills. But it's not parallel to academics. These are our college prep courses. And they really give students that opportunity to get their hands in and to put into practice the things that they're learning. I put a list of our courses here. We do often add to them. This is a growing segment of our classes as participation goes up regularly in these courses. And part of the reason that we do like growing this program is because the data is very clear that participation in these courses helps boost graduation, improve college acceptance, and persistence. One thing that I like about this course, actually, a SoCal High CTE teacher said to me last week, the importance of connecting curriculum with your head, your heart, and your hands. And he said that, and I really liked this, that our academic understanding is just as important as the sort of emotional connection that we have to it, our ability to put something into context in our life and the world around us, and then to get our hands into it. And so in CTE, whether you're learning photography or, the early parts of nursing and healthcare, or sustainable agriculture, all these classes are built for an opportunity for students to really get their hands in the processes and learn. And the other thing that we really love about CTE courses is each one also gives students an opportunity to build a resume, to learn how to interview and sort of do mock hiring interviews and cover letters, so that not only are they in these courses building their college, satisfying their college requirements, but they're also learning how to make sense of the job market and present themselves well in the job market for when they're ready to enter the job market. And so we also have a lot of student supports for academics on our campuses. And I wanted to point out that the whole point with these is to teach self-reliance. These are ways to help students learn the tools so that when they're out of high school, they'll be able to provide their own support for themselves. But we want to give them that support during high school. And I always want to make sure that parents are aware of this position at all of our schools, the RTI coordinator. And I know acronyms tend to get annoying because you hear so many of them in education, but RTI stands for Response to Intervention. And it's the RTI coordinator's job. This is a certificated teacher who tracks academic progress of students and helps to customize support around them based on where they're experiencing challenges, where they need more support. So what those supports are can be varied. We do offer academic tutoring. During school and after school, we have tutorial periods. We also have a peer tutoring system that's been expanding lately, which I'll talk about in just a moment, but we're really happy with how that's been going. The RTI coordinator will also organize language supports for English learners, broad supports in special education. And sorry, I'm blocking my own screen with my two screens here. They'll also help students navigate support courses and other interventions, that is, interactions with instructors and support staff to get students to have support that they need through challenging parts of the curriculum. And so I said that I wanted to focus on peer tutoring just a little bit. And so we are going to give that a little bit of extra time just because we're really happy with how it's been going, and it's proven to be an extremely effective support in academics. And what we do essentially is we identify students who are doing particularly well in their subject area, in a subject area, and we give them the opportunity to be peer tutors. And what that means is we train them in teaching techniques and to train them to help other students in subject areas, and then we pay them. It is a job. And so it's this great win-win-win, really, where students who are tutees, who are being tutored, tend to have an easier time approaching areas of difficulty with their peers, especially because their peers have so recently learned the content themselves. It's the path through it is fresh, but also the tutors learn all kinds of valuable skills, teaching skills, communication skills, how to deal with different personalities and learning types. It's a big sort of leadership boost for them, looks good on a college application, and we pay. So we're really happy how that's been going as well. And that's a big academic support. We also wanted to touch on school safety. And this is really because the mental, emotional, and physical safety of students is essential for learning, not just the actual safety, which is incredibly important, but the feelings of safety and belonging that students have. So we follow Secret Service data on school safety that outlines very clearly that the most important elements in school safety are the connectedness between students and their relationships with staff, essentially how connected they are to their campus. And so we put time and training into that, into making sure that our staff are helping to build those connections. We also support students with mental and emotional support resources, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And we even train staff regularly in all kinds of crises with law enforcement and first responders, so that we have a uniform and streamlined approach to incidents on campus. We're in the process of installing, and lots of our schools already have them up and running, smart lock systems, which have doors that automatically lock when they close and are opened with only appropriate key cards. And we actually already have up and running an anonymous tip system that students or families can use. If you go to your school website and you go to the students or parents menu and scroll all the way to the bottom, you will see you have the ability to report a concern. And I mean, this can be used for anything from, a bathroom stall has a broken door to, there's a fire on the lower campus. And we actually partner with a group that will review anything that's brought in there. And if it's urgent, they'll escalate it to us and or to first responders right away, so that we can act on anything that comes in there. Again, I need to apologize, Jessica. I think I've been doing a better job than normal, but I'm still moving quickly. Which brings me to our counseling offices. And so you can see there's sort of two color codes on here, because our counseling offices serve the dual purposes of helping to offer college and career counseling for students. They help with college applications and scholarships. They help track progress. They help demystify the college application process, and they help give students an understanding of what to expect in college and how to approach it. But the counseling office also employs licensed therapists who are, we have a social emotional counselor at every high school site who has an open door for counseling, and students can also be referred by their peers, by their teachers, by their parents. And this can be anything from significant distress to having difficulty with a friend group or anxiety over a test. And we try to make it clear throughout the year that door is open, and make sure that students are clear on how they can access our counselor or any of our social workers if they have anything that they need. We also run a social emotional survey every year. We do this out of UCSB, where we just get a sense of the emotional state of our students. And we've been happy to see in recent years, when we started, this was a little bit more of an obscure survey, and more students or schools all over are using UCSB survey because of how effective it is. And then our counseling offices will collaborate with staff, train staff on the markers of distress to make sure that everyone is working together to find and support any student who is in need. Our counseling offices also run trainings and workshops on suicide prevention, substance use prevention, harassment prevention, and all kinds of proactive ways to make sure that students are aware of mental health support resources that are available on campus. It's actually pretty cool. I only found out about this last year, the mental health fairs that they have at high school campuses, which are really wonderful, and just sort of another way to get that conversation going and make sure that anyone who needs any kind of help or support hears all the resources that are available. Because we also partner with a lot of city and county and community resources as well that we can bring in to give students any kind of support that they need. So, and then this is speaking back to what I was saying before, that I was going to say, what you have is a big grab bag in front of you, and please take advantage of it. We're really, really proud of having so many extracurricular activities and endeavors available for students, because this is really also an important time to do a lot of the less tangible social emotional learning figure out what you're interested in, figure out what you're good at, what you want to learn to be good at, and how to get good at it. And so whether it's athletics or performing arts or studio arts or just shared interests, we have all these things available. Our sort of ecosystem of clubs on campus is really incredible, where everything from subject specific things, right? I want to learn more about math, to hobbies. There are ways for students to get together, to find like-minded people, to sort of test out what spaces they want to be in and learn more about themselves. These are all sponsored by staff members. So they're, sort of organized ways for students to get together. And there are also leadership opportunities for students as well, which I'll talk about more in a moment. But yeah, a key part of that is, if there isn't something on campus that you want to have, it's pretty easy to get it going. And we have an apparatus set up for that. And yeah, the variety of performing arts and athletics as well that we have is pretty impressive. And again, it's never too early to start thinking about that and encouraging students to get going on it. I feel like spending all this time at high school is now one of my big regrets, is that I didn't do more. I did like football and music, and wish that I had done much more across the board. Yeah, again, these are all ways for students to learn to know themselves and how to cooperate, how to, manage their, capacity and their ability, and learn more about how to motivate themselves and work with others. And sort of on that topic, we have a wide variety of leadership opportunities for students as well, because we think that it's essential for students to be able to not just take agency, but see the impact that their agency has. So we want you and your students to know about all of these opportunities. We have an associated student body at each school that gives students a voice in their school, and input directly to their administration. We even have student trustees. High school students can serve as trustees and sit with our board members and discuss issues with the school board at the board level. We have a number of student advisory councils to the superintendent that students can join to bring issues before the superintendent and be a voice for their student body. Everything from enrichments that they want to add to issues of race and equity on our campuses. We have a link crew at our schools where these are connection and mentorship opportunities where older students can help welcome in younger students. And we have, as I said, peer tutoring, which is a pretty significant leadership experience, because students will run their own study sessions and that sort of thing. Obviously, with clubs and teams and bands, there are numerous opportunities for student leadership. And we also offer service learning and community service opportunities as well for students to, again, take agency out in the community around them with support. Because the apparatus of leadership shouldn't be obscure. We look for opportunities to get students involved in it so that they can have a really strong understanding of, like I said, that agency of, you can jump in, you can be part of it. And if you want there to be a change, you can make that change. We also wanted to mention how diverse our campuses were. And I know that diversity is a word that can mean almost anything. Diversity, it can mean race, it can mean socioeconomic status, it can mean gender, and in all these different spaces, diversity can mean almost anything. And what we're proud of is that at our schools, it means everything. It means every kind of diversity. Because we believe that a diversity of perspectives and different approaches and different ways of seeing things and problem solving drives broader and faster development for all students involved. And this variety is really good for developing minds, because the more perspectives there are within a classroom, the greater the students will be able to connect with each other, with their community and their society. And so we're really proud of the diversity of our campuses. And I know she's talking, but I should also apologize to Jessica for talking so fast, which is something that I tend to do. All right, and I mentioned that another thing that we're really happy to have is award-winning programs. And the reason that we're happy about this is not just because it makes a nice brag. We really like it when students are able to see their success carry beyond just the classroom, right? It's not just a grade, it's something that's out in the world around them. And makes those successes feel a little bit more real when they have community recognition. We have students who regularly have their art featured in local galleries alongside professionals. Every year, our music programs get recognitions for excellence. You may have seen that Santa Cruz High's marching band, the Cardinal Regiment, was invited to perform at Carnegie Hall last year. Our mock trial groups are recognized at the county and state level. Career technical education routinely gets the same thing, where classes are recognized in competitions. And all of our high schools, if you walk on campus, are really happy to boast about their last championships they've won. And the reason that we like this is, this isn't just recognition within the classroom. If you're in the paper, if you're on the TV news, it makes that success more real and helps drive that through line between the effort put in and the output and the achievement. And we're really happy how often that happens, because it's a good piece of confidence building for students that again makes their successes more real by bringing them out into the world. And sorry, Jessica, I'm going to move fast because we're almost done and I want to make sure that we've got lots of time for questions. We also wanted to make sure that as families, that there are lots of opportunities for not just connection, but leadership, for you to be able to tell us what you need and want at school. All of our schools have a site council where you'll work directly with the administration to be able to share your perspective or your needs and ask questions and get involved at the school level. We have site bond committees where families can be represented to talk about what bond work is going to look like going forward, what the campus most needs, and provide, be an advisory piece of that process. Of course, we have parent-teacher organizations and booster organizations where parents can get involved in organizing events and activities and supporting classrooms and programs. We have ELAC, our English Language Advisory Council, or English Learner Advisory Council, where parents can sit with us and talk about how well our resources for English language acquisition are and what we can do to improve them. We also have district level advisory councils, everything from bond oversight to sustainability initiatives that you can seek out, that you can join, so that your voice is part of our decision making. We wanted to make sure that you knew those are out there, so you can go looking for them. You can always email and ask how to get involved in any of them. Yeah. Should have switched the slide. The other thing I want to say is I encourage you to go to the high school's websites to learn more about them. You probably have already done that. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom on any page, you will be able to contact the school, and that goes directly to the school's office. I should congratulate our schools. They're very prompt at at answering those. So if you have questions or needs or wants or concerns or anything, you can do it there. So what are your next steps as you're getting prepared? First, like I said, you can visit your school's website to learn more. But you can also email your principal directly, and I've put their emails up here with their consent. You can schedule tours of the school. I've actually been seeing that people have already been making these requests on the website that they want to come and shadow a student, which you can do. You can have your student follow an existing student around through part of the day and get a sense of what life is like on campus. We also wanted everyone to know that we have open houses for all of our high schools. The dates are here, and those are open to all to come and learn more and ask questions and get a sense of what the campus is like and see staff and that sort of thing. And that, by and large, is it. That's the rundown that we have to offer. I hope that there's a lot of information. I hope that it went down smooth. And yeah, we're now happy to answer any of the questions that you have. Oh yeah. And also feel free to copy down my email, and anything that doesn't get answered or anything that you think of, a day after this, feel free to send me an email and ask those questions. And if I don't know the answers, I'll track down the person who does. And now I feel like asking my colleagues, what have I left out that you want to include?
Maybe we could have some of our principals answer some of the questions about CTE that are in the chat. Anybody want to talk about our CTE programs and where families can find more information?
At Santa Cruz High School, we have wood shop, we have graphic arts, we have bike tech, and we have full auto tech, as well as computer science. And I think what else? I think that's it for our CTE program.
At Harbor, we have similar ones, including bike tech and wood shop, and the other ones that Michelle mentioned. We also have med tech classes, and you can go to all of our school websites and find out more. We each have a section under CTE, but I've been in the classrooms and they're pretty amazing hands-on experience for students.
Yeah, I echo my colleagues around the CTE offerings. I think you'll be very impressed at all three high schools. I think the one class that wasn't mentioned is our biotech program over here at SoCal, but not the only biotech around, but certainly my favorite. Please email me directly and I can provide more information or bring you in for a tour.
Over at the Small Schools campus, we offer sustainable agriculture CTE program and a culinary arts CTE program.
Principals are at a time, there were a number of CTE magnet programs that students could attend across campuses around the county. Does that still exist? I thought it did. So that would probably be listed on your websites as well. So they see a program in a different school that they're very interested in. Some students will travel across town to attend something they're excited about.
It also supports students' access to county programs and fire science and computer science and other options that are provided by the County Office of Education. And you can find information on all of our CTE programs on our district website.
And in fact, if you go to sccs.net /sccs.net is just our base website /CTE, that will take you to the page that our CTE TOSA is Teacher on Special Assignment, runs. And so that will have a big master list of all the courses that are currently offered. Yeah, and lots of them are offered at the high school. Some of them are offered at the county level, that our students just have access to.
Casey, can you speak to 504 supports?
Yes. We have 504 supports for all of our students that come into our schools. We have annual check-ins with all students that come in with a 504. And we also work to identify students that may not have one, but that could qualify for one. So they're individualized, and counselors and assistant principals lead those annual check-ins and update those 504s, because when a student comes into high school, the 504 may not be perfectly dialed in like it was at middle school, because the environment is different. Some other things may be different. So it's important to have an update. So they'll do that early in the year, and counselors and or assistant principals will reach out to you to schedule that.
One of the high school principals speak to how counseling works for students.
At the 3 high schools, there are counselors, I think, at least 3, and I think maybe 3.5 at one of the high schools, where the counselors are following your student all the way through their 4 years at the school. It's divided by alpha, by last name, so that every counselor has an equal caseload. And they support students with not only mostly with academics, but a lot of social emotional support as well, referring to social emotional support on campus, and generally doing all kinds of counseling around grades, what courses to take, how best to prepare for college applications, applying, getting financial aid for colleges, dual enrollment at Cabrillo or at UCSC, and scholarships for university.
We also have a social emotional counselor who specifically works with students who are needing that support. So it's not as much academic counseling, but more direct service around social emotional support.
Asking about travel abroad or volunteer abroad programs for high schoolers. Our district doesn't sponsor specific travel abroad programs, other than our organized field trips, and each of our high schools have different field trip opportunities with different courses. We've had classes attend competitions in Europe over the last couple years, in different content areas generally related to CTE. We also are really proud of our music programs. We've had bands perform at Carnegie Hall. Lots to celebrate about what happens and what kids are able to do.
Michelle, do you want to briefly answer what Math Academy is?
Yes, Math Academy is boy, at this point, I think it's probably a 30-year-old program that what it does is it takes students coming in as freshmen. They spend freshman and sophomore year in the Math Academy at Santa Cruz High School. It is by application, and they go through 4 years of mathematics in 2 years worth of time. And at the end of Math Academy, so Math Academy itself is a survey, sort of a course where they learn a lot of other areas of mathematics besides sort of the pre-calculus work. There's a lot of statistics and logic and probability and discrete math, matrices. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. I think lots of different topics in math as well as the pre-calculus topics. And they do a lot of projects, they work in groups, they do a lot of writing. And then after those 2 years, they generally then will take, as juniors, they'll take the AP Calculus BC course and exam. Has an extremely high pass rate on the BC exam. They get 100% pass rates most of the time, with the majority of the students getting 4s and 5s, which mean depending on which university they apply to, they're getting college credit and advanced placement into the 3rd quarter or semester of calculus when they're in college.
Looks like answers are being typed for the remaining questions.
Something I can add that based on a few of the questions was the frequency in counselors meeting with students, and our schools are pretty well aligned. They're not exactly aligned, but they meet with students frequently. And there's a really great thing that we're piloting with the state of California, and it's the state of California's vehicle for setting up students for understanding college application requirements and getting ready to apply for college. And it's called the California College Guidance Initiative. And you can Google CCGI, and that'll come up. And all of our students, 6 through 12, are getting lessons from counselors in the classroom once each semester about different things: career exploration, A through G requirements, how to apply to a college and get financial aid. Really important, great stuff that all of our students are getting from all of our counselors in direct instruction in classrooms. And the other cool thing is you can also sign up through a parent portal, and then you can see what your student is doing because they have a little portal themselves. And so you can see the things that they're doing. You can see the results of their career exploration and things like that. So it's a pretty cool website and a really cool program we're doing. I'm really proud that our state adopted this and all of our students have access to it. We're one of only 2 districts in the county that are using it already, I might add.
It's awesome. So Michelle, I see you're typing an answer to that. Do you want to just answer it out loud though? Do students take any placement or entrance exams for math at our high schools?
That the middle schools work together with the high school using multiple measures to place students in high school mathematics. And that's a cooperative effort between the counseling offices, the math departments at the high schools, and the counseling office and math departments at the middle schools to place each student. Math Academy does have an application. There's an application, there's a problem that students work on, and it actually doesn't matter if the student doesn't get the problem right. They write about their experience and what they tried and how they persevered with it, as well as a relatively simple math test that they take when they come in. So those are the entrance exams for Math Academy.
What about just math in general, Michelle?
Yeah, that's where I talked about the.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
sorry.
Yeah.
And the deadline for students to pick their high school.
Well, I would say the deadline is really, really, truly for us to do the best job of building a master schedule for all students. If we allow people to sort of join at the last minute, we may not have well-balanced classes. And having a deadline, I guess it's in March or something, is helpful for us because, say, Santa Cruz High School, we will start our building of the master schedule, taking our student requests. We'll start building it in December.
We encourage families to be making that choice early in January, early February, because that allows us to make sure that we are designing the master schedule to meet your child's needs.
And you'll hear about, you'll get invitations from your middle schools to meet and hear from high school counselors that will go visit the middle schools, and we'll give them handouts and talk with them about timelines and application process and things like that. So you'll get that heads up through your kiddo and through the middle schools.
We will try to post this entire recording if possible. Sometimes we make a little bit of a cleaned up version for people who don't want to watch the Q&A, but we will try to post the entire thing if we can, just because yeah, you've been coming up with interesting questions. And I'm just finishing the post to have the slide deck up on our website. So if you go to the front page, just sccs.net, it should be up there shortly so that you can review the slide deck at your leisure. Emma, do you want to talk a little bit about International Baccalaureate since Santa Cruz talked about Math Academy?
Yeah, so at Harbor High, we're an IB school, so an International Baccalaureate school, and we're an IB for all school, meaning that all students at our school participate in IB classes. Some students choose to follow the path to earn an IB diploma, but other students participate in the program by taking International Baccalaureate classes. Ultimately, it's a variety of different offerings in classes, but ultimately what it would allow is for students to receive college credit internationally, so that it would be recognized on an international front. But it's a great opportunity, and lots of students, I mean, all students participate in some form, and some choose to follow the path for the diploma.
All right, guys, this is your chance to ask any remaining burning question about high school next year.
I saw a question about, I don't know if it got answered, about sports in the summer, and I believe that practices or kind of conditioning or camp experiences might open up. And I believe that once you've committed to the high school, a lot of messaging goes out to families, letting them know what's happening, and with contacts to different coaches or athletics, like for football or things like that.
That speaks to the reason to commit and to make sure that your enrollment information is in, so that you receive emails about all those important events. We're grateful for lots of dual enrollment options, concurrent enrollment options at Cabrillo for students attending any of our schools. That is an option. Students can attend Cabrillo College for free. Some of those courses, or a few of those courses, are offered on our campuses, and some of them are offered at Cabrillo, and that's done in partnership with the counseling department at your child's high school.
And if you Google Cabrillo College dual enrollment, they have a page set up that has a lot of just general facts about the programs. You could learn a bit more there. Yeah, Greg or Amariah, do you want to answer about the combo SoCal and Harbor High performing arts?
Yeah, I'm certainly proud of the Night Pirate Collaborative, producing some wonderful shows. The Harbor High School Theater provides the setting that both groups can operate from, and from a physical setting point of view. We don't have a theater per se. Hopefully we will in the future. And so we thought that the collaborative would be a good way to go, and it's worked out fantastic. So thank you to Amariah and the Harbor folks for hosting the facility, and the collaborative group of students has been working, as advertised, a collaborative, and it's been great.
Yeah, and this past weekend, they just wrapped up the fall show, and it was great. A Man for All Seasons. And then we'll have a spring musical as well. And so collaboratively, it seemed to work really well.
Yeah, I see, Casey, that you're answering when enrollment happens, but do you want to well, I guess I'll provide part of an answer. You can let me know if you want to add anything. So as I think Michelle pointed out before, you can enroll once we open enrollment, you can enroll at basically any time, but we do ask everyone to enroll within our enrollment window, if at all possible, because that helps us actually build a complete schedule for your student. So if you miss the window, you can still enroll. It's pretty important that you do know that, but do try to hit the window. And and Casey just dropped off, but what is our enrollment window for next year? I can check that. but if anyone knows offhand.
The schools are gonna start doing enrollment in January. Any other final questions?
Do we want to answer the 504 question that's been up there a bit?
I thought Casey had it early on, but all of our schools support students with 504s and do the necessary accommodations and things like that and hold annual meetings. But that's a practice at every one of our schools in the district.
Just want to share with you, there's, as we go through and we read these, it feels a little stilted, maybe our responses, but one of the things that I can tell you about everyone on the screen is that they love their schools, they love their community, they're deeply committed to supporting the growth and development of the youth of our community. And there are so many ways for kids to engage and connect. And all of these people here are supporting teams that are all about supporting students. So we're excited to be going with your family on this journey into high school, which is a different step in their development and a little bit different for parents. I know my youngest just graduated. So I'm just on the other side of this for my family, but lots of exciting things happen and lots of opportunities for kids to grow and learn. And we're excited to be on the journey with you. Does anybody else want to add anything as we close?
Have fun.
Look forward to meeting you in person soon.
Yeah, thanks so much for being with us tonight, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Have a great evening.